A government report has been released to mark the anniversary of last year's floods. It contains a long list of recommendations and advice to protect towns and villages in the flood zone.
One of the worst hit villages was Loudham in Nottinghamshire, where we can join our reporter Brady Harron live now.
Now, I wouldn't have been able to stand here last year because that's when water from this stream here overflowed and then overwhelmed a lot of the houses here in Loudham. The question is, will this report here be their saviour? It's weighs in at 506 pages, it's by Sir Michael Pitt, and it contains a long list of advice. I'm going to read you 3 of the recommendations: a 25-year plan and cabinet committee dedicated to flood issues, new building regulations for homes in flood-prone areas, and more accurate warnings from the Met Office and Environment Agency. Now, I was out in Loudham this afternoon to see what people thought. This is the Pitt report into last year's flooding, and at 506 pages, it seems like a pretty big document. But when you compare it with the waters that came from this drain and flooded Loudham last year, well, maybe it's not so big after all. Take Pam Cox. She saw her house flooded up to here. So I reckon about 8 and a third. You've got about 8 and a third Pitt reports of water. But further down the road, it was even worse for John Watchon. We've got a mark here that shows where the floodwaters came to. I reckon you're about 14 and a half Pitt reports.
Well,
a year ago today, I was in Wellies. I started off by just taking my shoes off, but then realised that it was pretty dirty water, so we got into Wellies.
you're not quite sure what the next move's got to be. Where am I going to live? What am I going to do? How am I going to get it sorted out?
One of the neighbours came over to try and help, but of course the water came far too quickly, to do anything about it, really.
So, do they put much hope in this latest report on flooding?
I'm very glad that the matter's being looked into. I hope the report can somehow get into practice and doesn't remain a report.
I don't know, anything that will improve it's got to be good, but whether any action's taken is the problem.
The County Council welcomed the Pitt report, but said it was already taking action.
We have purchased new vehicles in order to clean the drains out more effectively. The Environment Agency in particular have brought in contractors to clean out the debris from most of the becks. These are already written in the Sir Michael Pitt report, but we have already actioned some of these.
So Pam and John will look at the report, but it's the stream at the end of the road they're watching more carefully. Now, just finally, while John and Pam may be watching this stream, it appears not everyone is. According to the Environment Agency, only 28% of people living in flood-prone areas of Nottinghamshire have signed up for their early warning system. Back to you.
Brady, thank you.